The year is 1861. A new nation has been born from the ruins of fragmented kingdoms. Italy, long divided by foreign domination and regional rivalries, finally achieves unification under the House of Savoy. But political unity was only the first step toward becoming a true European power. To defend its shores, support its ambitions abroad, and gain international respect, Italy needed a navy, a modern, capable navy that could contest the waters of the Mediterranean. Thus began the rise of the Regia Marina, the Royal Italian Navy. The creation of the Regia Marina involved more than simply combining the naval forces of the former states, like the Marina Sarda of the Kingdom of Sardinia, the Marina Borbonica of the Kingdom of the Two Sicilies, and others. These fleets differed in training, equipment, and doctrine. Unifying them meant building an entirely new naval identity. The Ministry of the Navy, under figures like Admiral Carlo Pellion di Persano, took on the monumental task of centralizing command, standardizing training, and modernizing infrastructure. New naval academies were established to cultivate a new generation of officers, professional, patriotic, and technically skilled. Naval shipyards in La Spezia and Castellammare di Stabia were expanded. Italy began building its own ships, no longer relying entirely on British or French designs. These developments laid the industrial foundation for what was to come. The late 19th century was a time of explosive technological change in naval warfare. Sail gave way to steam. Wooden hulls were replaced by iron, and then steel. Artillery became more powerful, more accurate, and more deadly. Italy did not lag behind. The Regia Marina was quick to adopt these changes. The ironclad era saw the construction of some of the most advanced warships in the Mediterranean. In 1866, Italy launched the Affondatore, a British-built ironclad ram ship equipped with turret guns, cutting-edge technology for the time. But perhaps even more symbolic was the launching of Italia in 1880 and Lepanto in 1883. These ironclads were among the largest and fastest of their day, representing Italy's aspiration to naval parity with the great powers. The Italians also pioneered the use of torpedo boats. Small, agile, and cheap to build, these vessels represented a new kind of asymmetrical warfare. Italy's faith in torpedo technology foreshadowed future innovations like the MS boats of World War I. By the turn of the century, Italy had firmly established itself as a modern naval power, possessing a balanced fleet of battleships, cruisers, destroyers, and submarines. Italy's naval development was closely tied to its foreign policy and colonial aspirations. In the 1880s and 1890s, the Kingdom of Italy began expanding into Africa, first in Eritrea, then in Somalia, and finally, in 1911, in Libya. These territories required maritime support, both for transportation and defense. The Mediterranean, once called Mare Nostrum by the Romans, once again became central to Italy's strategic thinking. The Regia Marina was tasked with securing sea lanes, patrolling colonial waters, and deterring rivals, especially the British, the French, the Austrians, and the Ottomans. To meet these challenges, the Navy adopted a system of regional squadrons. The fleet was divided and stationed in key areas: the Tyrrhenian, Adriatic, and Ionian seas, and later as well as the Red Sea and the Dodecanese Islands. This structure allowed for rapid reaction to crises, and crises did come. In 1897, the Italian Navy participated in the international intervention in Crete, where violent uprisings between Greek insurgents and Ottoman authorities had brought the island to the brink of chaos. Alongside the naval forces of Britain, France, Russia, and Austria-Hungary, the Italian squadron helped enforce peace around the city of Candia, modern-day Heraklion, protected civilians, and demonstrated Italy's growing willingness to act on the international stage. This marked one of Italy's first major multinational military deployments under the flag of humanitarian and diplomatic intervention, a theme that would recur in the coming decades. Just 3 years later, in 1900, Italy once again projected its naval power far from home, this time in the Far East. During the Boxer Rebellion in China, an anti-foreign uprising that threatened European interests and legations in Beijing, the Regia Marina dispatched a naval contingent as part of the Eight-Nation Alliance. Italian sailors landed in Tientsin and Beijing, contributing to the defense and relief of foreign communities under siege. Though numerically modest, Italy's involvement signaled a significant shift, from regional actor to participant in global affairs. The presence of Italian sailors on the shores of China showed that the Regia Marina was no longer confined to the Mediterranean. These missions, one in the eastern Mediterranean, the other on the Pacific Rim, demonstrated the flexibility and strategic reach of the Italian Navy. Whether quelling uprisings in Tripolitania, securing order in Crete, or defending diplomatic missions in China, the Regia Marina was becoming a tool not just of defense, but of diplomacy and projection. The Belle Époque, stretching from the 1870s to the eve of World War I, was a golden age of peace, industrial growth, and scientific innovation in Europe. For Italy, it was also a time of military modernization and growing confidence. During this period, the Regia Marina continued expanding its fleet. New classes of armored cruisers and pre-dreadnought battleships like the Regina Margherita and Regina Elena entered service, incorporating the latest developments in propulsion, armor, and gunnery. Italy also began investing in naval aviation and submarine warfare, areas where it would later become a pioneer. The first Italian submarine, Delfino, was launched in 1892, making Italy one of the earliest nations to explore undersea warfare. Naval academies in Livorno, Venice, and Naples trained a generation of officers in modern strategy and engineering. Figures such as Admiral Enrico Miglio and Vittorio Cuniberti emerged as influential theorists. Cuniberti, in particular, left a lasting mark. His concept of an all-big-gun battleship, outlined in a 1903 article for Jane's Fighting Ships, inspired the design of HMS Dreadnought, revolutionizing naval warfare across the world. In this way, Italian innovation was not only catching up, it was helping to lead the way. As the 20th century dawned, the Regia Marina stood transformed. What had begun as a patchwork of inherited ships and disparate traditions had become a cohesive, modern naval force, professional in structure, ambitious in purpose, and increasingly global in scope. From the shores of Crete to the harbors of distant China, Italian warships had flown the tricolour in defense of national interest and in service of international diplomacy. These missions, both colonial and cooperative, marked Italy's arrival not merely as a regional player, but as a maritime state of consequence. The Navy had become more than a tool of war. It was now a vessel of national identity, embodying the new Italy's aspirations, industrial might, and strategic vision. The technologies adopted, the doctrines tested, and the officers trained during the Belle Époque would shape Italian naval thinking for decades to come, echoing into the crucible of the First World War and beyond.